Hello guys, you are welcome to my YouTube channel and thanks for subscribing. Guys, we should understand the negative effect of Abuja against the people of Edo State. Imagine if there is no Abuja, do you think that what happened in Edo State would have happened? No. Let's listen to Rufia and see how he disgraced Inec and politicians.
Right, Rufia, I don't know if there were surprises that we had talked at length about the Edo elections last week, the weeks leading up to the elections. Overall, was said to be quite peaceful. I don't think we recorded at least any loss of lives, and that's great. But there were concerns around the integrity of the process and other things. But at the end of the day, Senator Monday Okpebholo is now the governor-elect of Edo State. Your take on this story?
After the 83 elections, Fela Kuti sang a song. It says, crazy democracy. Demonstration of crazy demonstration. That's what our democracy has become. It's a complete demonstration of craze. But what shocks me the most is that most of the things that happened in the 83 elections 40 years ago are still happening today. Mass rigging across all political parties. All of them are suspect. No one is a saint among them. Because the same people that want to say tenets of democracy also rigged. All of them put together. The question is who rigged more than the other. Secondly, the fact that IREV, that they said was going to be an election fixing machine, the result on the IREV was different from the other results. Let me tell you something about 83 elections. Bolagi at some point in Ibadan, when things were not going his way, started reading out results on television. Just like a certain governor in the PDP was also reading out his collated result, which he had no right to do. And if we condemned when we had that shenanigan in the States with Benani, we also condemned what he did. Despite he's tried to defend himself, he said, no, he's just reading what he had collated. We also saw polling units where you had accredited voters of 300, if my memory serves me right. But the voters for a certain political party went up to 2,000 or something. Or maybe I was seeing double. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So all of this shenanigans, 40 years after, is still the same. The only difference is there was less violence. So what is the future of this democracy? And now I'll tell you, increasingly people are not coming out to vote. That's why over 2 million PVCs, less than 500,000 people or 600,000 people voted in the election, because people know that it's now become a demonstration of craze. They know that it's a quest of the biggest might, federal might or whatever might you want to use. They know it's a whole body of shenanigans. And for people like the governor of the state that is complaining about his undemocratic lack of democratic tenets, ask Governor Obaseki, when he didn't swear in lawmakers, was that democratic? Ask him. When there was division in his own party and all the people that work with him are no longer there, was that democratic? So all of them share in the blame.
All right.
And together, it is a demonstration of craze we had.
All right, Dr. Bati.
Okay, very interesting outcomes from Edo State, but should anybody be surprised? Ahead of the election, the PDP was already saying that there was an indication that there would be the supremacy of federal might. But what has now happened, it would seem from the PDP perspective that, well, this is an imposition of federal might. So that's with regard to the conversation about federal might versus people's might. And it was in that regard that Aswe Ighodalo, the candidate of the PDP, has come forward to say that what happened will rank as the worst election ever conducted in Nigeria. And that is why the governor of the state has also come forward to say that the people's mandate will appear to have been stolen. But he has called for calm, and he says, the aggrieved should seek redress through due process laid down by law. So the drama of Edo State, some other people will say, in the fight between Adams Oshiomhole, senator, former governor, and Godwin Obaseki, that the enemies of Obaseki have won. Who are the enemies of Obaseki? Number one, Philip Shaibu, who is going to come on this show, shortly. I expect him when he comes here to stage a dance for us, to beat his chest and say, oh, King Kong has won against the forces of Obaseki. So you had the battle of the Godfathers. The other players, Danobi, Osage Yamu, Kabiru Ajoto, all these people, they said before now that they put Obaseki there and that they will not allow Obaseki to put another person there. So in a sense, this vote is also a vote against Obaseki. How you interpret it, depends on, your understanding of the details in Edo State. Number 3 is that the people who, analyzed this election before now said certain factors will play. They pointed out economic hardship in Nigeria. That economic hardship will create a situation whereby the people of Edo State, who have been part of the end bad governance process and who have a lot of enlightened people, will say that no, the APC government should not be rewarded with victory in Edo State. But that's precisely what has happened. The APC has been rewarded. The people who are saying we are hungry, they are the same people that we have been told voted for the APC, creating a margin of over 40,000. The next logical question is to ask, did the people's vote count? The election was peaceful, yes, but was it free and fair? So people have commended the security agencies for maintaining the peace. But what happened in terms of freeness, and fairness of that particular election? The Edo State people, as we have always said, we don't have a dog in this fight. We are just talking heads on television. Now they have voted for a Monday Okpebholo, who didn't grant any major interview, who said he was doing a word campaign, and who was supported by the Godfathers, who said they were fighting a proxy battle. Going forward, I imagine that the PDP, the LP will go to court. They will go to the tribunal. But in politics, it's better you win and let them declare you. If you go and say you are petitioning, you may not win. Well, that's the thinking, among politicians. But, this is the situation we have before our hands. But I will praise Okpebholo for the gallant fight he has put up. I will praise, Olumide Akpata, Oludi. If we were to vote on the basis of beauty of advertisement, Olumide Akpata will have won arms down. But it's okay. It's a good beginning for him. And it's also a good beginning and a giant stride for Okpebholo. The people of Okpebholo, let them deal with what they have been served.
Let them deal with what they've been served. I put up something yesterday that the candidates in Edo State, really interesting if I wanted to describe in very loose terms what happened over the weekend. But at the end of the day, elections have happened, however which way we might view it, and the candidate or the winner has emerged. With 9% of the votes going to Olumide Akpata of the Labour Party, 35% of the votes going to Okpebholo of the PDP, and 56% of the votes going to Monday Okpebholo of the APC. Now, if you watch the interview yesterday, over the weekend, Arise did such an excellent job covering, and we had the opportunity to speak to a number of the principal actors. Now, just looking at the interview post the announcement by Inec, you would find out the true winners of yesterday's elections. Senator Monday Okpebholo hardly said one or two words. We could just see his face, the elation on his face, almost unbelief that, wow, this finally happened, he's governor-elect. But the key people who were speaking were Senator Adams Oshiomhole, were Mr. Philip Shaibu, who are going to be speaking to in a few minutes. And I'm looking forward to that dance, Dr. Bati. If he doesn't do it willingly, we will ask for it, because I think he should do a dance. And then, of course, even the uncommon senator, the president of the Senate, Senator Akpabio, was there as well, triumphant, talking about how triumphant. They almost didn't give enough time for Senator Monday Okpebholo, who is on the ticket, to say anything. And so you see who really emerge victorious on this election. It would be great to speak to our correspondents on ground to also feel the pulse of the people. How are Edo people feeling? Are they excited? Are they joyful that this man who didn't deem it fit to speak to them throughout the course of the elections, where he said he went word to word, but they didn't have an opportunity to really interrogate his plans, his policies for the Edo people, emerged as winner? Interesting times. We'll be discussing this in detail when we get to newspaper review. I'd like to just dissect a few things that could have caused the PDP crisis. Cannot be taken away from this. The fact that the House is in disarray and they want to win elections, that's food for thought. The people themselves and the fact that the quality of education for the electorate who then go out to vote, very important. But let's move on.
My dear good people of Edo State, in the last few months, the various political parties have embarked on very rigorous campaigns to sell their respective candidates for the office of governor to the people of Edo State, in an exercise which came to a climax yesterday. The attractive thing about democracy is the power it bestows on the people to choose who governs them. Therefore, when this power is blatantly seized from the people, it is not just a tragedy, but a travesty of democracy. Regrettably, the outcome of the September 21st governorship election appears to have daunted the spirit of many Edo people who feel powerless in the face of the brute force of the institutions that are supposed to protect them. It is therefore understandable that many people feel sad and aggrieved. But in the midst of this despair, I'm urging all my fellow Edo citizens to maintain calm and not resort to violence and the destruction of property in spite of this provocation. Peace and justice will always win at the end, and this is my prescription to all the good people of Edo State who feel vexed and violated at this time. Clearly, it is obvious to the least discerning the amount of impunity and reckless disregard for processes and law that was displayed in this gubernatorial election. In a democracy, there are always safeguards for addressing grievances, and we hope that all those affected will seek resolution for this blatant disregard of law and process. With this in mind, I implore all Edo people to go about their lawful businesses and rest assured of the commitment of our government to your well-being and security. God bless the people of Edo State. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.